Welcome to the weekly business session of the Josephine County Board of Commissioners. It's 5:30 p.m. on August 13th, 2014. Please stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1A, approval of resolution 2014-031 in the matter of the adoption of the revised bylaws for the Josephine County Parks Advisory Board. Commissioner Harris?
Yes, Madam Chair and Commissioner Hack, this is the opportunity for us to take what the Parks Advisory Board has been working on for several months to improve our bylaws and kind of bring them into compliance with county policies and such. No substantial changes that I'm aware of have been proposed in this revision of the bylaws. So, after comment, I'll move for adoption.
Didn't change the size of the board?
Nope.
Okay, all right. Item 2, requests and comments from citizens. Each person will be given 3 minutes. And we have 2 individuals. Mr. Linstad?
Bill can go first. I'm sorry. I'll let you. It's all right.
Mr. Matthews?
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. Well, Ms. Walker, you've really done it this time. In your effort to make signing error look bad, you indicated to us last week that you've done a year's worth of research. And you found that the county's been handing out grants to people without really checking them out, without having them fill out financial statements, and that they're not doing the things they said they were going to do. That implicates this board in some ways. It implicates the former chief financial officer, big time. Unfortunately, it implicates her deputy at the time, Arthur O'Hare, and previous commissioners. It implicates all of the senior management of this county. So, since you've done a year's worth of investigation, we'll want to see that investigation, of course. And since it sounds like it's criminal activity, you'll want to turn that over right away to the district attorney and then prove to us that you have, or you'll be guilty of covering up evidence that you've uncovered. So we'll give you a week, because it's bound to be more than just 1 page with 3 words on it. I mean, it's a year's worth of investigation. And similar to what the sheriff tried to do with Simon here, saying, well, I had this information a year ago. My question to him was, why were you sitting on it for a year, sir? That implicates him in withholding evidence of criminal behavior. Now it's Cheryl Walker that's doing it. So if it's true that you've really done all this, and compared with other information we've gotten, I don't know, like 300 outstanding problems with the ordinances, and when you said that at the K Junction meeting that you were getting up to leave the room, completely false. That you weren't facing me, completely false. That you were talking with someone else when I talked to you, that's also completely false. So you have an opportunity to look, to appear honest this time, but bringing us to the report, making sure that it's date stamped, time and date stamped from the district attorney's office. Otherwise, as I said, you're sitting on evidence. You have an item in front of you today from the consent calendar. I urge you not to pass this thing that affects Dan Linstad. You know, we can do stories too. We've got 550 of them so far, 125,000 views. I'd like to do a story about how you're railroading this guy. He's trying to explain to you, and you're not listening, so you really should. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to speak for 3 minutes? Mr. Linstad?
Thank you, Dale. Daniel Linstad, Grants Pass. Hello, Commissioners. I am here tonight to ask you not to sign the lease for Hangar 93 without first negotiating. What does that mean? There are county officials that seem to think, here is your lease and sign it or else. That is what is being done to me. Do you sit on jury duty and give your vote based on all the information? Of course you do. Then why won't you allow me to meet with you and work out this problem? Your airport manager has showed this willingness to negotiate when he met with the person in the J row. He got the 28 cents a square foot instead of the 38.3. The bigger problem is the square footage overcharging that I keep talking about, that nobody's listening to me about. I ask you to allow a meeting that you, Mr. Hare, and Mr. Graves, airport manager, and I can have to work on the issues that the letter dated July 25th, 2014 addresses that I gave all three of you commissioners and never heard one word from. Thanks. The Federal Aviation Administration requires all people to be treated equal and fair under 5190 of the FAR's, Federal Aviation Regulations, to receive federal grants. Stop this rush to negotiate and listen. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? No? Okay. Did you call your hand? I did.
Rycke Brown, 1415 Southwest Bridge Street, Grants Pass. Under the Caveman Bridge has improved a lot lately. We've gotten down there and cleaned under there 3 times. Last time with a good-sized group. Still didn't get it all clean. There's a lot of butts and glass still right there concentrated at the pillar at the base of the bridge. But this Saturday, people have a chance to join us in cleaning under the Caveman Bridge again. And it's from 10 to noon. Bring a litter grabber. It really is de rigueur. And gloves and a bucket. I'll have refreshments. And we can clean up this blight in our city park that is basically the gateway to Riverside Park from the Riverside Inn. The tourists cross that bridge. They go down the stairway and under the bridge, and they have mostly just popped off of it bald. And sometimes they write about it, tell the city about it. One couple said they crossed that bridge into the park and they never come back to Grants Pass. And frankly, that is not the most littered place in town, even before week before last. I was walking up 6th Street from the bridge up to my mart. That is one truly littered stretch. And on the other side of the road, where really hardly anyone walks, it's Bud City, it's mulch, all along there. We need to clean up this town if we want to bring back tourism and retirees and industry. If you want tourism and retirees, you have to look clean and safe. If you want industry, you have to look industrious. And we have not been looking industrious for a long time. But it wouldn't take much to clean up the litter The real job will be cleaning up the weeds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Anyone else? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. All right.
I just want to thank Ms. Brown for her efforts. I saw her earlier today cleaning up. I think it's where the Humane Society has in that cul-de-sac area that on Redwood Avenue. I appreciate that. So.
I think you've been doing a good job. I've seen you out there on the bridge. So thank you. Anytime anybody does service like that to the community, some of the unsung heroes, so thank you. Okay. All right.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would make a motion to approve item 1A, which is the resolution 2014-031 in the matter of adoption of revised bylaws for the Josephine County Parks Advisory Board.
Yeah, I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So I thank the board, the Parks Advisory Board, for their diligent effort, and Doreen Ferguson, our great Parks Director, for getting us through the process.
It's another department that does a fabulous job with very few resources, so thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Commissioner Hack?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes. Motion carries. Item 3, approval of consent calendar. Item 3A, minutes. Land use hearing of July 28th, 2014. General discussion, July 29th, 2014. Weekly business session, July 30th, 2014. And executive session, which was an open session, July 30th, 2014. Item 3B, Order 2014-029 in the matter of the authorization of execution of a lease agreement for a lease of county property at the Grants Pass Airport. And these agreements, and that is...
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
I wonder if you would permit me for just a second to talk about item 3B. I had a conversation with Mr. Linstad earlier today. I learned some information that was new to me, or I had been told it before and I didn't recall. And as Mr. Linstad is the kind of the applicant for the lease, he conveyed to me, and as he stated here today, that he'd like an opportunity to present his case. We have been over this negotiation before, but I think he has some things that he'd like to express to the board. And as this is a land use issue as far as a lease agreement, there's a provision in executive session for him to have that conversation with us. And if it's the board's will, I would like to petition that we table that element until he's been given an opportunity to speak to the full board on this issue, and then we can move to adoption of a resolution of the weekly business session at some point in the future. But I would say that this isn't a rush to sign this lease agreement. I think it's been out there for quite some time. Maybe, if I remember correctly, sometime in February that this lease expired or came up for the opportunity to go. So, having said that, an additional week may not be that big of a deal, but I'll leave it to the discussion of the board. I would just make a motion to table item 3B.
And for the sake of the discussion, I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'd just like to say that for the public consumption, that the previous board of commissioners actually set a policy in regards to fee structure, and we have a fee structure which all tenants at the airport have to comply with. And Mr. Linstad has 17 or 18 other hangars of which he assigned leases at this rate previously. So I just want the public to know that we're not being arbitrary in regards to the fee structures that we have at the airport. They've been set by board, and they have been used in all leases. There was one situation, sir, please don't comment. There was one situation where there was a lease that was a roadwork or some leases entered into that, as I said, just because there was in that situation or any other situation, the exception or a mistake made doesn't mean you make the same mistake twice. So Okay, that being said, I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes, motion carries. We will table that until a future date. At the request of Commissioner Herrick, we can put this on another meeting.
We can, I wouldn't be until we had that.
Okay, well, until you have that, we need
Staff will,
to executive session.
I think we'll pick an executive session that works out schedule-wise for all of us. That'll be
All
great.
right. We'll do
So
that.
with that, Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar item, which is just 3A now.
And I will second that.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Commissioner Hare?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes, motion carries. Okay, do we have other business from the board?
I had none.
No.
No? I don't have any other business matters from commissioners.
Rodeo to get to in a couple of minutes. I guess it's just full ride. I don't know if it qualifies as a full-on rodeo. I just want to encourage those who are watching. I imagine everybody here probably knows, but the fair started today, and probably the strangest weather that I can recall in a long time. I was remarking to Commissioner Heck that I do remember one year at the fair when I was a kid growing up. I was back when I was in FFA, so it had to have been when I was in high school, but there was a time when we got a flash flood of some sort. There were 8 inches of water back in the back section of the stalls for the pigs and everything else. It was pretty interesting. So a nice, cool opportunity to enjoy our 100th year, and just don't want to miss an opportunity to thank all of the volunteers who made this year possible. And without the leadership of the Fair Board and Mary Rose, we probably wouldn't be here this year. So 100 years is an incredible milestone, not to be taken lightly. Everybody needs to take advantage of this historic opportunity to visit our fairgrounds and come out in support of it as much as possible. And just appreciate everybody's efforts coming together. And last night, I had the privilege of being at the quasi-grand opening, I guess it was, for the new outpatient Asante Center right next to the Three Rivers Hospital. It's quite a facility, and I think the community needs to look at it as an additional asset that we have. There's an entire campus down there with a host of other services that I wasn't even aware of. Most of all is probably that new women's building, but it's just an amazing array of health services that are going to be a real positive, I think, for people who are interested in retiring to Josephine County. We've come a long way in the last decade, is being having those services available to people in the later years of their life. And that's been lacking for a while, I think, and it won't be a stumbling block to people thinking that they're going to get quality health care, world-class health care, right here in Josephine County. They don't have to go to Medford anymore for everything. There's a lot of things that they can have done right here in River City. So excited for that to happen. There's a whole host of other things going on as far as the board is concerned, and but I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight. So thank you. Those are my comments, Madam Chair.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I would second the comments on the new opening of the Asante building. They have opened the urgent care on the lower floor, and then it's hopefully on Thursday. And so they're up and functioning, and it'll get more functioning the higher they go up the floor. But it's quite an impressive facility, that's for sure. And I think they will be having a community-wide open house. I'm not just quite sure of when that is going to be. It's yeah. So just look at the newspaper, and it's certainly worth the walk through, that's for sure. That's another jewel in Josephine County. And I wish I could say I'll see you at the fair tonight. I'm not going tonight. I'm going tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, but I'm not going tonight. I'll be done.
4-H Junior Livestock
Saturday.
4-H Junior Livestock Auction starts at 10?
Yeah.
10? So show up early, get a card, and bid frequently. Yeah. Buy an animal or two.
On many animals.
Yeah.
You don't want to eat. You need a sheep? You need a pig?
No,
No?
I'm gonna get a couple of pigs this year. Mom isn't a real big fan of lamb, and if she's cooking and she's not a fan, it doesn't happen. So
Sounds like my house.
I was at 9:30 is the fair. Maybe the I'm sure at 10. And it doesn't, I think they start the bidding at 10, but if you want to see,
Yeah.
you get about 9:30, enjoy the people. It's good. It's just a fun time.
It's great.
Very good time.
Good, that's good.
Wait till all your friends.
I'd also like to make a few comments in regards to accusations made by Mr. Matthews. His accusations in regards to illegal activity in our economic development program, I have never insinuated that there was illegal activity. I said that there were certain things that should not have been done, perhaps because they weren't done according to financial standards that you would want to make a loan. And I think my comment was something to the effect that it was more about who you knew and not based on financial standards. But there's nothing illegal about that, absolutely not. And I did not insinuate that there was anything illegal on the part of any of the commissioners currently on the board or any previous commissioners. And certainly not on the part of any of our finance people. So for Mr. Matthews to try to weave a web of illegal activity in any of our county departments, I think the public needs to know that he's very good at weaving webs so that he can put his stories on his own website that's very disparaging to our lovely county and the wonderful people who live here. And as to his comments in regards to the meeting in Cave Junction, that I was not talking to anyone else, I was actually having a conversation with Kate Dwyer. So again, he's trying to weave a story of something that did not really occur. He asked a question while I was speaking with another person.
No.
So anyway, just be cautious about people who come up here to fulfill their personal agenda. So, okay. With no further business from the board? No further business? Okay. We are adjourned. It's 5:52 p.m.
5:52 was the last time.